My fellow Americans, today marks a pivotal moment in the history of our great nation. The long and hard-fought battle over tax reform and benefit restructuring has finally come to an end. The United States Congress, after days of impassioned debate, countless hours of negotiation, and a record-breaking speech from Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, has passed the Republicans' sweeping tax cut bill. And now, this legislation heads to President Donald Trump's desk, where he will sign it into law in a patriotic ceremony on July 4 at the White House. This is more than a bill. It is the culmination of years of Republican promises and a vision for a smaller, leaner, and more prosperous government. With a narrow vote of 218 to 214 in the House, Republicans overcame their own internal divisions and fierce Democratic opposition. It was a legislative battle that tested the resolve of the GOP leadership, but they emerged victorious, wielding the political power they secured in the 2024 elections. President Trump, ever the dealmaker, played a decisive role in sealing this victory. From the Oval Office to the congressional cloakrooms, he was relentless in his pursuit of success. He met with skeptical lawmakers face to face, picked up the phone to call wavering members, and turned to his massive social media platform to rally support. His efforts energized his party, reminding them of the promises they made to the American people. This bill, dubbed by its champions as the One Big, Beautiful Bill, represents a fundamental shift in American fiscal policy. It slashes taxes across the board, aiming to boost economic growth, fuel job creation, and put more money into the hands of hardworking American families. But it does not stop there. It also includes controversial cuts to key social programs like Medicaid, sparking fierce debates about the role of government and the safety net for the most vulnerable among us. Democrats, unified in opposition, have condemned the bill as a betrayal of working-class Americans and a gift to the wealthy. They argue that the cuts to Medicaid and other benefit programs will harm millions, particularly the poor and elderly, while the tax cuts will disproportionately benefit corporations and the ultra-rich. Minority Leader Jeffries, with his record-setting speech, sought to rally the public against the legislation, casting it as the defining battle for the soul of the nation. Despite this resistance, Republicans pressed forward, driven by a belief that economic growth and prosperity will lift all boats. They argue that lower taxes will unleash the full potential of American enterprise, create jobs, and make America more competitive on the world stage. They claim that by trimming what they see as bloated government spending, they will reduce the deficit and secure the nation's fiscal future. The passage of this bill marks the first major legislative triumph of the Trump administration's second term. It demonstrates the power of a united government, with Republicans controlling the White House, the Senate, and the House, and their ability to drive through ambitious policy changes. For President Trump, it is a vindication of his leadership and his vision of an America First economic agenda. But this victory comes at a cost. The nation remains deeply divided, with many Americans fearful of what these changes will mean for their families and communities. Protests erupted outside the Capitol as the bill passed, and advocacy groups have already pledged to challenge key provisions in court. Democratic leaders have vowed to make this bill the centerpiece of their campaign to retake Congress in the 2026 midterm elections. For now, though, Republicans are celebrating. They see this as the realization of a dream that dates back to the Reagan era: a simplified tax code, reduced government intervention, and an economy driven by free market principles. They believe this bill will be remembered as a transformative moment, one that redefines the relationship between the American people and their government. President Trump plans to sign the bill into law in a grand Independence Day ceremony, symbolizing what he sees as a rebirth of American economic freedom. Flanked by congressional leaders and everyday Americans who stand to benefit from the tax cuts, the president will declare this a new chapter in the American story. But even as the ink dries on this legislation, the political battle is far from over. Democrats are preparing a full-court press to overturn the bill in the next Congress, should they regain control. Lawsuits are expected to challenge the bill's legality and its impact on vulnerable populations. The 2026 elections loom large on the horizon, with both parties already sharpening their messages for voters. For the American people, the coming months will bring both hope and uncertainty. Many will welcome the tax relief and the economic optimism it is meant to inspire. Others will brace for the impact of reduced social services and the potential fallout from what critics warn as fiscal recklessness. This legislation is more than just numbers on a page. It is a statement of values, a vision of America where individual enterprise is paramount, and where the role of government is scaled back to make room for private initiative and personal responsibility. It reflects the ideological divide that has shaped American politics for decades and will continue to do so for years to come. The path to this moment was anything but easy. Intra-party squabbles threatened to derail the effort more than once. Fiscal conservatives balked at the projected deficits, while moderates worried about the human cost of benefit cuts. But in the end, political will triumphed over caution. The bill passed, by the thinnest of margins, but passed nonetheless. And now, as the nation prepares to celebrate its independence, it will do so with a new economic framework in place. Whether history will judge this as a step forward or a grave mistake remains to be seen. What is clear is that President Trump and the Republican Congress have left their mark on the American economy. In the days ahead, the Treasury Department and the IRS will begin implementing the new tax code. Businesses will adjust their plans, families will see changes in their paychecks, and states will grapple with reduced federal funding for Medicaid and other programs. The full impact of this bill will unfold over months and years. The political implications are equally significant. For President Trump, this is a signature achievement to bolster his legacy. For congressional Republicans, it is a promise kept to their constituents. For Democrats, it is a rallying cry to mobilize their base and fight for a different vision of America. No matter where one stands on the political spectrum, one cannot deny the magnitude of this moment. It is a reminder of how elections have consequences and how determined leadership, for better or worse, can reshape the nation. So as fireworks light up the sky on July 4th, so too will a new era of American economic policy begin. President Trump and his allies will celebrate what they view as a hard-won triumph. Their opponents will begin laying the groundwork for what they hope will be a political reckoning in 2026. The American people, as always, will decide. In town halls and kitchen tables, in rallies and debates, they will weigh the promises against the realities, the rhetoric against the results. And in doing so, they will shape the next chapter of this great, ongoing American experiment.